Hello and welcome to the show. It's your boy Roberto here with another one. Today we're talking about clarity. Getting clarity on your life, thinking clearly, taking clear actions, getting where we want and what we want in this world. So this is really important, okay? So clarity is power. Before the internet and everything else, knowledge was power. Knowledge, information, if you had good information, you could make $1 billion business just because you knew more than everybody. But now there's so much information that we are actually able to become distracted because there's too much information. You can literally have a very contrarian view on something. You can go on Google and you can find information that will support your view, even if it's not correct. It just is very, very interesting, which means that not only can we kind of just live in a world where everything that we believe is reinforced, right? So nobody opposes our view, or even if they do oppose our view, we attack them online because we've looked it up or whatever it is, So that's one thing. The next thing is that we can be brainwashed, right? I mean, human beings are very complex, but we are not endlessly complex. So we're going to be getting into more and more of a time where the world and the governments, the big corporations, they can kind of hack us. We're already we see this. If you watch TV nowadays, it's just like pizza, hamburger, drug commercial, another drug commercial. And it's just bombarding you to program you to buy their food, buy this crap, even if it's not necessarily good for you. So we are in a era where not only is there so much information that we can just hear what we want, but that there are going to become algorithms that know how to manipulate us in ways that we won't be able to even fully understand as well, whereas the computer will know. Maybe even the people that are using these algorithms are going to be so confused. Just an example, it's like the economy. They have these massive computer program algorithms that are basically going to tell you when to buy crypto or tell you when to buy stocks, right? But what happens when that algorithm gets so complex that the CEO of the company doesn't even know why the algorithm is telling you to do these things? I'm saying all this to bring it back around to clarity. And this is why clarity is power. Okay, if you know what you want, you will be more likely to get what you want, and also less likely to be swayed from the path into delusion. Okay, and that was just a very roundabout way, but just to get your brain thinking about how important clarity is, I kind of wanted to point that out. I mean, obviously, I don't think I need to sell clarity. I mean, so many people are, I guess what they're calling multi-potentialites. Sorry, it's kind of a dumb word, but I am a multi-potentialite, so I'm allowed to hate on it. But people that want to do multiple things, right? They have multiple dreams, multiple aspirations. I've had multiple aspirations, and a lot of times nothing gets done. The only things that get done are the things that you do every day. That's pretty much what I've discovered, all right? But it's also coming to a new age where we have to reinvent ourselves very frequently. The world is changing at a rapid pace, and if we do not reinvent ourselves practically every 10 years, we're going to fall behind, and we're not going to be able to keep up with the times. And it kind of sucks, but it's kind of the truth. So prepare yourself to reinvent yourself, every decade, I would say. Maybe you get lucky and you're like a heart doctor, and then you can just be a heart doctor forever or whatever. But for most of us, we're going to have to reinvent ourselves multiple times, or at least adapt what we're doing. We can't get stuck in one habit. So this is why clarity is a ongoing habit, okay? It's a habit to focus on clarity, right? If you want to have more clarity than other people, you have to make it a habit of daily checking in on what is important to you and what you want. I also want you to imagine, what if every day you wake up and you know exactly what you need to do to get you where you want to go? Like, for most people, that is not the true reality of life. Most people are just fucking flailing, like a fish just floating through the water, or like a stick in the water, just being taken wherever it's going. There's so much more power in knowing like your next 5 moves, knowing what you're going to do for the next few months, knowing what you're going to do this week, and knowing what you need to do today. That is beautiful. And you can really kind of get into a rhythm. And the hard part is really just starting this process. The hardest part is starting this process and then sticking with it. All right. But in order for us to get there, we first need to know clearly what we want in life. So the way that you really do this is you reverse engineer it. You imagine, you're 90 or 140, whatever age you are. Maybe we'll be living longer in the future. And it's the end of your life, and you're going to reflect on all the things that you achieved, all the experiences that you had that you want to, pass along. Like, the biggest thing that when you talk to older people in like nursing homes and things like that is they just have regret for all the things they didn't do, all the times that they got mad about things that didn't matter at all, and didn't go after their dreams or gave up on their dreams for frivolous reasons, So we don't want you to be that. We want you to have a list of things you want to experience. By the end of your life, you want to get all these things done. And then you're going to be able to have clarity on what you want, right? So that, number one, reverse engineer it. That's how first thing you get clarity. And read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He really explains this like really, really well. But take out a piece of paper and write down, all the things you want to do before you die. And then write down who you were while you were alive. I think it's Gary Vee that's always like, I want the most people at my funeral. That's like, think about who you are in this world, because you don't have to have all the craziest experiences if you just want to be a good person to the few people that are around you. That's just fine. But you need to write down the experiences and write down who you were and how you impacted the people that were important to you in your life. How you helped them, how you interacted with them, the kind of trips you went on and all that kind of stuff. And these are going to be very important for who you are as an individual and who you are in your life. First of all, reverse engineer your life. Secondly, write down what you don't want, or write down the things that are happening right now that you just can't take anymore. You're tired of, and you need to change. Okay. These are the easy ones. These are like, for some reason, it's a lot easier to point out all the shit we don't want than it is to really go deep and ask ourselves what we do want, which is the next step. Next step is, what is the outcome that we want? And it can take a while to get there, but if we know like the outcome that we want, like we want a stable job, big house, lots of land, a couple kids, chickens and dogs, goats, like whatever you want, that if that's the outcome that we want, then we got to start making a plan right now. We need to get clear about this right now. Life is not necessarily going to get any easier. Robots are going to take our jobs, or Russians are going to blow up the world. Like, who knows what the hell's going to happen in the future? But if we have the power, clarity is power. The whole world could be falling apart around us, but we can keep moving forward on what we want and what's important to us. Maybe you want enlightenment. Maybe you want a new truck. Like whatever the things that matter to you most are, you need to make a plan. And no one is going to do this for you. Listening to me talk about it isn't going to do it either. You have to actually take that moment, take that walk, take that time with a notebook and sit down and really just ask yourself the deep questions. And then write down whatever comes to your mind. You don't have to judge yourself. You just have to get it out on paper or on a notebook or whatever the hell you're doing, and get it out there so that you can look at it. Then it's in the real world. If it's just in your head, if you're just going to store all this stuff up and just like keep it in your brain, you're just going to forget about it. Whereas get it into the world as fast as you can. Draw it, make a vision board, write it out. These things all will help with your clarity. Okay. So basically reverse engineer, write down everything you don't want, and then you need to figure out what you want. What do you want? Figure out your outcome. All right, so let's say you don't even know how you're going to get there, but this is the outcome that you want. Then you can start to do a process of elimination and start to experiment. All right, you can know why you want it. These are the key things. So figure out what you want, figure out what the outcome you want is. Don't even worry about how you're going to get there actually yet. We'll figure that out. Next thing is you're going to need to know why you want it. Know why you want it. Any man who knows his why can overcome any how. And then basically the next step is just take massive action. The whole world wants you to be afraid constantly, and they're not going to take care of you. The only way you're going to take care of yourself and you're going to find your clarity and find your power is if you take care of your own self. You find your own personal power, your own greatness inside of you to carry you through that fear and past. And most of the time, our fear doesn't have any teeth. Once we get past our fears, once we get over that hurdle, once we get through that, there's really nothing there. It's just kind of, it's like when you turn the lights off, there's definitely not any monsters in your house. But your brain might tell you that there is. Find your personal power and take massive action, all right? And get over fear. Clarity is power. Remember that. Clarity is power. And if you can break it down by what it is you want in the long run, and then reverse engineer all the way back to like what you could do every day, make it an atomic habit. Let's say you want to be a prolific writer. An atomic habit just means something really small. All right. Well, then you can basically write one sentence every day, just to get you started. But you have to do that atomic habit every single day. That's going to get you closer and closer and closer. All right. Just an idea. All right. Now let's talk about some other habits on helping you find your clarity. Okay. If you want to have more clarity than other people, and all high performers, they all have clarity on what their purpose is and what they're doing. There's no question about it. They get to the point where their whole life, their whole business, their whole schedule is focused around the clarity of what they want. And that's how they can become truly successful. So daily reflections plus scoring. All right, this is very powerful. So reflections, if you really, I like to do a weekly reflection. So every Sunday, I set some time aside and I just write out all the things I got done this week. But some people maybe can do a daily reflection at the end of the day. What you want to do is really have like a journaling session where in the morning you write down what you want to get done for the day. And then in the evening, you write down all the things that you actually got done. And reflect on yourself and see where you're at. And then scoring. So again, we're trying to figure out clarity. And sometimes clarity isn't just black and white. There's there's a lot of gray area. So once you figure out what you want to write down how you're feeling about it every single day and keep track of that. Am I exuberant about this? Am I ecstatic? Or am I a pile of poop and a piece of trash and I don't care about it right today? Because this is going to tell you, you can look back at it and be like, man, I was so excited for like 6 days and then I fell off the last 3. What happened? Maybe I can get back and let's just see if this is still really what's the most important to me. Okay. So scoring can really help you keep track of where you're at. And remember, the big thing is if you know your why, right, then you might not burn out. And if you can write down your why and you can rekindle that why, you can find that personal power again and keep going. Because it's like, I think 50 Cent said it. He's like, it's not about being able to, rap whenever you feel good. If you really want to be a good rapper, you have to do it every single day like a religion. You can't just do it when you feel like it. You got to be able to do it when you don't feel like it too. That's what makes you a professional. So be a professional. Daily reflections and scoring, though. That's the first habit. Or weekly reflections and scoring. It's just figure out a way to score yourself. You can just do it in the morning too. Be like, I feel like shit today. And then set an alarm at like 1 o'clock and then check it out and be like, oh, I feel pretty good now. Like I just had to get over that hurdle. I want to work on my dreams again. And then the next thing is if we're trying to get clarity, right? We're trying to figure out really about who we are and what's important to us. You want to, I call it like a happiness journal. I'm actually thinking about making one of these on Amazon, so feel free to steal my idea. I feel like somebody should do this. But it's just a journal where you write down any positive emotions that you have during the day. Because that's how you're going to figure out who the fuck you are and what you really like. Like, if you are just like, if you just wrote down all the things that made you happy during the day, all the positive emotions, and you just kept a catalog of all those positivities and positive emotions, you can probably steer your day to where you're just doing things that make you happy. even if you're doing a shitty task and you figure out like something that you enjoy listening to while doing that shitty task, and then you can recreate that while you're doing it over and over. Like that's how I've gotten through a lot of bullshit and made a lot of money. So these are just some things, but daily following of recording your positive emotions. So whenever you have a positive emotion, whenever you do something that absolutely fills you with joy and happiness, write it down, and it can be as simple as, oh, I ate a bunch of blueberries today and now I'm freaking stoked. They were delightful. Like whatever it is that adds a little smile to your face, even if it's just like talking to some stranger, or you went on a walk and saw something cool, whatever you do, or you were driving and you listened to a really good song and it put a smile on your face. But keeping track of those things can actually really tell you a lot about yourself, a lot more than just guessing and hemming and hawing. And understanding yourself is a really big importance when it comes to clarity. That's what it's all about. So if you can figure out how to make yourself happy, you'll be able to push through any BS or any struggle and be able to come out the other side with more clarity of what's going on, as well as when you go into tough times, you'll be able to have a book of references of things that'll put a smile back on your face and give you positivity. One of the biggest habits that I really love, put up a barrier between you and negative people, you and negativity, as much as you possibly can. That's an incredibly important habit. And then keep track of all your positive emotions. That's going to keep you happy, keep you smiling, light that fire that's inside of you, the things that are positive, that are important to your life, and note them. Like sometimes I feel great after I just destroy myself after a good workout, and it's a positive emotion, and I feel pretty good, and I carry that on for the rest of the day if I do it early in the morning. And I need to remember that, hey, I don't feel like fucking working out today. But every time that I do work out do this kind of workout at the end of it, I feel pretty awesome. So I just need to remember, like, this is going to lead to something. It's going to lead to more energy, and there's a lot more benefits. So just a good thing to conversate with yourself and write down and have a daily recording of all your positive emotions. Okay. The next thing to find clarity, stop browsing for entertainment and start browsing for education. Okay. I'm doing this thing where I focus on one thing each week. And I've had some of the biggest breakthroughs of my life where I just picked one topic. Instead of just like mindlessly scrolling, I specifically focused and I studied everything I possibly could on the topic. Okay, so stop browsing, stop scrolling for entertainment, and start browsing and scrolling for education. Find out how you can embed yourself. Find out things that you're interested in, things that you can get passionate about, things that might change your life, and go deep. Go hard. Don't just mindlessly scroll and give what the algorithm gives you, because it'll just take you down a toxic path. Whereas if you can stick to clarity, stick to what's important to you, stick to what you enjoy, you're going to be going a lot further. You're going to find something that fascinates you. I really encourage everyone to become an avid reader and an avid learner. And you don't have to start by reading all the nonfiction books. You can just start by reading romance novels or anime comics or whatever you're interested in, but you got to read a lot. And then eventually, once you get down that kind of reading, you'll want to graduate to the next level. You'll either start writing your own romantic novels, or you'll start finding communities with other romantic people, novel people, or whatever, and then you'll kind of keep growing though. And it's just like, if you just start walking every single day, eventually you might have a burst of energy and you're like, I'm going to start jogging a little bit. And then you start jogging every day. And then once you start jogging for a little while, then you can start running again. And once you start running, you're going to realize how good it feels to run and feel the air and just be outside and things like that. So I'm just saying, baby steps, but stop scrolling, stop browsing for entertainment, and start browsing for education. When I really want to go deep on a topic, I'll read like 8-10 books on the subject. I'll get completely immersed in it, and then I'll come out the end and I'll make these little podcasts and stuff for you guys so that I can share what I've learned with somebody and put it into a concise message. And it's very powerful, and it's just you get that knowledge boner. That's kind of what it is. And don't equate that with action, but it's still a wonderful thing because it actually does raise your consciousness level. If you've never read a bunch of books, if you've never studied anything, if you want to change your life, start reading a book a day. That's the thing that changed my life and has taken me on to having a wonderful life and living in a great world, as opposed to being in trouble and being a victim. All right. So I really, really, really advise you stop scrolling for entertainment and start browsing for education. All right. And next is go deep on your life. So many people are just surface people. They never go deep, not even on themselves. They never question where their thoughts come from. They never take a minute just to try and figure out what it's like to breathe. Where are these breaths coming from? They never take a second to really ask the deep questions of who am I? Why am I here? What is going on? All right. And that's why we're making this podcast, so we can inspire you to go deep on your life. Go deep on your goddamn life. Was that helpful? Did I explain what that even means? Go deep on your life, though. Figure out the things that make you happy. Figure out what you want to do on your life. Figure out atomic habits. These are very tiny, tiny habits that you can do every single day to get the ball flowing in that direction of what you truly want. But you have to commit to them. Stick with them. Teeny, tiny habits that can start to grow into things. Let's say you want to start going to the gym. All you got to do is the atomic habit is put on your gym clothes or put on your gym shoes and walk out the door. If you don't make it to the gym, well, try and make it a few steps closer every single day, and eventually you'll get there. Figure out how to go deep. Figure out who you really are. Take a journal out. Write it all down. Just write out your entire life. Start a podcast where you talk to yourself. Or, find a way for you to express yourself. Because, we're human beings. We get filled with all these emotions, and our society has told us to suppress all these emotions, but we have to express them in some way, or else we just become a bad version of ourselves carrying around all this baggage. So we have to learn how to express ourselves. And if we don't know how to express ourselves, either through art, physical activities, or whatever it is you want to do, that journaling, you're just going to bottle it all up, and you're going to hold on to resentment and rage, and you're going to become a discouraged human being, as opposed to really figuring out who you are, what makes you happy, what makes you tick, what makes you feel better, so that you can move the negative energy and move the BS of life out of your system. We all go through it. Nobody said that life was easy. Nobody said that everything is just going to be perfect. Even if you do everything right, you could still get hit by a car. But if you do the things that are really important to you, and you find true clarity, and you find your true purpose of who you are, life can become really fun, because you can start to become the creator as opposed to the created, and you can become your own reality maker. You can bend the world to your own thing, and I'm not talking about even the hippy-dippy stuff. You can literally, if you just take tiny, tiny steps, tiny habits in the real fucking world every single day in a positive direction of what you want to do, you will get there. The more good you do to your body, the more good the world will do to you. The more good you do to yourself, the more good you do in the world, the more the world will give good back to you. That's just a fact of life. That's just like the law of the universe. The more service you can provide people, the more the people will provide for you. All right, so that's basically today's topic. Remember, clarity is power. I really hope this was helpful. You might want to listen to this a couple times, but figure out what it is you truly want. All right, figure out what you want. Figure out what the outcome is that you want. Like, what's it going to look like? What's it going to feel like? Know why you want it. Take massive action. All right. Figure out your personal power and get over the fear, and then take massive action. All right. I feel pretty good. Hope you guys are enjoying. As always, check out my websites. Buy some art if you like. And I look forward to talking to you in the next one. Bye.